not sure why that is. Hi there, Stampin' friends. Welcome to my Stampin' Piece studio. I'm Mary Nabe in Westerville, Ohio. Today is Thursday, December 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time if you're watching live. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching later also. As most of you know, on the first Thursday of each month, I introduce a new 12 by 12 one sheet wonder that I have designed for you. And these one sheet wonders are designed to be quick and easy to replicate. I design coordinating card sketches to go with each of the pieces that you cut in the one sheet wonder because I want your card making to be easy, fun, and stress-free. So, introducing the December 2025 One Sheet Wonder class. So, the first thing I'm going to do is share with you the products I'm using today. Now, this first product that I'm using for the sentiments on my One Sheet Wonder cards is called Prayers and Promises. This is not something that you can order new. This is something that I got on my demonstrator pre-order this month, and I could not wait till January to show you. So it will be available. It's got great sentiments for people who are hurting or have suffered some kind of loss and are in need of our good thoughts and prayers. But if you are interested in this, you can get this the first week of January when the January to April mini catalog and the new January online exclusive products are released. So again, that's called Prayers and Promises, coming January 2026. The paper I'm using today is called Regal Distressed Patterns Specialty DSP. And what I really love about this pack of paper, it just has 3 different sheets, and they're all single-sided, only printed on the one side, and you get 2 of each in this designer series paper pack. What is interesting to me when I first got this is I thought this beautiful metallic was gold, and then I realized, no, it's not gold. So then I thought it was like a champagne color metallic. Well, here it is actually the basic beige in a metallic form. So those accents that you see. And I can honestly say, you'll see me today combining these with basic beige cardstock, and it works wonderfully with it. So I'm going to show you, you know what, let's just dive in. At the end of this One Sheet Wonder demonstration, I do want to show you a second set of cards I made with the cherry cobbler print. And I'll tell you why I did that when I show it. So don't let me forget that at the very end. I want to show you that second set of cards I made with this One Sheet Wonder. So this is a directional paper, and I've got the top of my 12 by 12 along the top of my paper trimmer. So if you're using directional paper, just know you want it facing the correct direction, with the top being at the top of your paper cutter when we start cutting the paper, okay? And the One Sheet Wonder and the card sketches are made to work with a directional or non-directional paper. So as long as you follow my cutting instructions and the card sketches as I've designed, you will be perfectly fine with your directional paper. So the first cut is going to be at 5 inches. And I'm going to set the 7 by 12 inch piece aside for now, and I'm going to take this 5 inch by 12 inch piece, turn it to the horizontal position, and I'm going to cut at 4-inch increments. I'm going to stack these, and ultimately I want each of these pieces to be cut in half at the 2.5-inch mark. So in the horizontal position, 5 inches by 4 inches, and I'm going to cut them in half at 2.5. Now I'm using the Stampin' Up paper trimmer, and it cuts 3 sheets of our designer series paper very nicely. So I'm just going to stack mine. Okay, and I'm going to keep them stacked, and when I'm ready to make the 3 cards with card sketch A, I'll pull a piece from the left pile and the right pile. That way, if you're using papers that need to match up, they will match up, okay? Or if you want, you can set your 5-inch by 4-inch pieces to the side, and as you're making the 3 cards with card sketch A, you can cut those in half individually. I just find this to be a little bit more efficient. The next thing I'm going to do is take my 7-inch by 12-inch piece that's left, turn it to the horizontal position, and I'm going to cut at, double check here, 3.5. and then 4 3/4. So 3.5 and then 4 3/4. So I now have these different sizes, 3 different sizes of rectangles. So I'm going to take the one that is 7 inches by 3.5. I'm going to put it in my trimmer in the horizontal position and cut in half at 3.5 inches. And I'll be using both of these for card sketch B. The next piece measures 7 by 4 3/4, and putting that into my trimmer in the horizontal position also, and cutting in half at 3.5 inches. Now the next piece measures 7 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and for this I'm going to cut at 5 inches. And that will leave me with a 5-inch by 3 3/4 piece for card sketch D, and then 2 inches and 3 3/4 for card sketch E. So you'll see 5 card sketches to go with this one sheet wonder. So let's go ahead and make 3 cards using card sketch A. And I will give you all of the dimensions you need for card bases, layers, anything I punched or die cut, so that by the end of this video, you can go back through the video and using the same cutting dimensions for the 12 by 12 paper as well as cardstock pieces, make the set of 9 cards on your own. And at the end, I'll tell you, if you would like a PDF form, I will tell you 2 ways you can get that. So for card sketch A, I've cut 3 card bases. They measure 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And then I scored at 2 3/4 inch from either side. So 2 3/4 inch from the left side, turned my cardstock, and I scored at 2 3/4 inch from the opposite side. And then I'm just going to fold those front flaps or fold the flaps to the front, I should say, and give those score lines a nice crease with my bone folder. One thing I like to do too is when I'm doing a gatefold card like this, I like my seams to match, my edges to match up, not overlap, but not leave a gap either. So I kind of just push those together, and then I place my bone folder down about the middle of the score line, and I score up and score down. That helps ensure that those two flaps meet up right in the middle without a gap. So notice how I'm pulling both flaps in. Here I got a little gap. So what I'm going to do is just kind of pull one a little bit closer to the other. Hold it in place, go down with my bold folder, and give that a crease. And now I've eliminated that tiny little gap. I'm not sure if you noticed it or not, but it was probably like 1/16 of an inch. Maybe it's not enough for you to be bothered with, and that's okay too. So now I'm going to take my pieces that I cut from the One Sheet Wonder. Remember, I had 3 pieces that measured 5 inches by 4 inches, and then I stacked them and cut them in half at 2.5. That's what I'm using for card sketch A. So I'm going to take one from the left and one from the right. So if you are using a pattern that looks better with the pieces matched up, like a puzzle or a picture, you want to be sure to take one from the top of the left and then the top of the right pile. And I'm going to center these on the left and right flaps. And I've got 3 of these to make. So I took one piece from my left pile and one piece from my right pile. And again, each of these is 2.5 by 4 inches. Oops, make sure I'm got this, match it, yep. So this is card sketch A. Now, typically I do have all the sentiments already stamped and prepared for the cards just to keep things moving along when we're making a set. This is a set of 9 cards today. I do have 2 of the 3 sentiments already stamped. I die cut, this is about 2¼ inch square, but I use the Stylish Shapes die to die cut it. And what I want to show you is often we are stamping this as a square, but for my cards today, I'm turning them to a diagonal position. And that's what I wanted to show you, because this stamp that I'm using, this sentiment, it could fit this way, but I thought it just looks a little, I don't know, fancier, classier if I turn that square to a diagonal position and stamp it this way. So I just wanted you to see how I actually did that. I think all of my other sentiments have already been prepared though. So then I'm just going to adhere these to my card front. Now on gatefold cards, you want to make sure that when you are adhering anything to the front, that you're only adhering it to one side. So I'm going to be adhering these sentiments to the left flap only. And here's a trick for doing that, for making sure that you're putting your adhesive only where you want it. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive, lay it down first so you have an idea. Okay, I'm not going all the way to the top and bottom, but I am going to go right along there. And then on the left back, I'll put some adhesive. And I'm not going all the way to the halfway mark because I want to make sure I'm not going beyond that halfway mark. So give myself a little wiggle room. And when I lay this down, I'm putting the top and bottom points of this diamond shape right along that seam where the two flaps meet. And then I press that down and I'm good to go. Okay. I'm not sure I said, but this is basic beige cardstock I'm using. So the two colors I'm using for this set of cards is basic beige with pretty peacock. Again, I'm adhering to the left flap only, and I want my points of that diamond shape to line up with where the two front flaps meet in the middle of my card front. But this little glue trick or adhesive tip is a good way to make sure you're not using too much glue and you're keeping that adhesive only in the area where you want it. And I will be embellishing, but I'll go back and do that at the end. So those are card sketch A, 3 cards made with card sketch A. So next is another gatefold card. I'm going to make 2, and this time I'm using my 3.5-inch squares, and I'm making a vertical gatefold card. Okay, so I showed you a horizontal gatefold card, and now I'm making a vertical gatefold card. So to make the base, I measured 8.5 by 5.5 inches of pretty peacock cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, and then I score 2 1/8 inch from each end. Okay, 2 1/8 inch on each end. My cardstock on the inside is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I cut some pieces of cardstock, 2 for each card. These measure 1 7/8 inch across and 5 1/4 inches long. 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And I wanted to emboss these. So I used the, I think it's called the Gathering Leaves embossing folder. But and I chose that simply because I liked how it looked with the DSP print I chose to use. But that embossed layer just gives it an extra little pizzazz, I'll say. And there's my gatefold card with those embossed layers on the front. I'll do the same thing for my second card made with card sketch B. And like I said, by the end of this demonstration, you will have all of the dimensions that you need to make a set of One Sheet Wonder cards on your own, whether you use the same supplies as me or you choose different paper and colors, stamp sets, etc. And keep in mind that every One Sheet Wonder is designed for you to be able to use multiple times with different papers for different occasions, different themes, different color schemes, whatever you like. Then I've cut 2 pieces of basic beige cardstock, and these measure 3 3/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch. And I'm like looking at my sample though. Let me look at this one second. Looking at my sample. Oh, I did cut them a little smaller. Scratch that. I'm going to cut, and I remember why I decided to cut them smaller on the sample. That is because I wanted more of this showing. So actually, and you can use the 3 3/4 inch square, but I'm going to make mine 3 5/8 inch. Okay, so my DSP squares are 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, and these basic beige squares will be 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. I wanted just a little bit smaller margin for this card. And really, either size margin works with this DSP. So it may just be what you're comfortable with. Sometimes I like having smaller, narrower borders. Sometimes people say, Mary, I don't want to deal with the 1/8 of an inch. That's okay. Then just hop up to the 1/4 inch and make them 3 3/4 instead. Okay. Now, once again, I want to adhere these layers to the front left flap only. So I'm going to use I'm kind of estimating, right? So I know where to put my adhesive. So I'm making a line there. I'm going to flip this over, and on the back left, I will add some more adhesive, but not going all the way to the halfway mark. With this tip, I never have messes or adhesive oozing out to where I don't want it. Because, you know, if we go too far with our adhesive on a gatefold, it's going to adhere our card shut. And when you adhere your card shut, there's not a whole lot you can do to fix it. Most problems we can fix in this craft, but that's a tricky one, not so much. So same thing. Okay. Then I've chosen another sentiment from the Prayers and Promises stamp set. Again, this Prayers and Promises stamp set is available to customers early January. Okay. And this says, keeping you in my thoughts, holding you in my heart, and remembering you in my prayers. And I've punched it, I've stamped in Pretty Peacock on basic beige cardstock and stamped with the modern oval punch. And you can see the sentiment isn't just for the loss of a loved one. It's not just for sympathy cards. There are lots of reasons why we want to keep people in our prayers. And by the way, if you're watching right now and hearing me talk about this stamp set, Prayers and Promises, if you are spiritual or religious or like sending good vibes, let's send them out for each other right now. I know a lot of people hurting right now for different reasons, and you know, I just try to take a moment each day to remember them and their needs. So if you would join me in that, I would be so appreciative, because that is part of I would say it's part of the Stampin' Peace community I've built. an important part to me is that we support each other in whatever way we feel is appropriate. Okay, moving on to card sketch D, I'm using my 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch pieces that I cut from my One Sheet Wonder. And I'll be making two, excuse me, I will be making 2 cards with card sketch C and these pieces. So I'm going to layer my DSP onto basic beige cardstock that measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I will embellish all of my cards at the end after I make all 9, just to let you know. I'm going to add these layers to the center of my card fronts. Again, my card bases are 8.5 by 5.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 down the middle. The inside cardstock measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just centering that like that. Oh, and you know what? These could have been popped up on dimensionals, these layers. I did do that on my samples. But as I was talking, I didn't even think about pulling out my dimensionals. But this would be a good place to add some dimension to your cards. Next, I have cut a banner for each card. And these started being, let's see, 3.5 by 1 inch. 3.5 by 1. I banner cut each end. You can do that if you have the banner pick-a-punch, or you can do it with your snips, or you can just leave them as rectangles, 3.5 by 1 inch. And I'm going to adhere these right across the center of my card. Okay, I have to say, I don't know about you, but I'm really loving the color combination of the basic beige and pretty peacock. And you know, when we, how long have we had basic beige? Maybe 2 years? When Stampin' Up! First introduced basic beige, I was kind of like, you know, okay, we have another neutral. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I won't. Wasn't so sure. But I find myself using it more and more and more and more, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so here I stamped the sentiment, "So sorry for your loss," in Pretty Peacock ink on basic beige cardstock. I punched with a 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and then I layered it with dimensionals here between the 2 circles on a 2 inch Pretty Peacock circle. So my circle punches I used here were 1 3/4 inch and 2 inches. And of course, if you're using a different sentiments, you're going to punch or cut or die cut pieces that fit the size sentiment that you're using. Okay. So there are my 2 cards for using Card Sketch C. And we have 2 more cards to make, 1 of each. Oops, let me have to pull up my samples to the front here. Okay, so this card is quite similar to the last one because it uses very much a similar layout, but in a horizontal position. So I'm starting with a card base that measures 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 on the long side. and my inside piece is 5¼ by 4 inches. So this is going to be a horizontal card. And remember we talked at the beginning about the One Sheet Wonders can be used with both directional and non-directional paper? The card sketch designed meets the needs of the directional paper. And that's always how I design my One Sheet Wonders and coordinating card sketches. So that no matter what you choose, you don't have to look at it ahead of time and think, oh, can I use a directional paper with this? I've already thought of that for you, okay? So as long as you're following the cutting instructions and the card sketches as designed, it'll work with your directional papers. So this piece measures 5 by 3¾ inches. And I'm adhering it to a piece of basic beige that measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 inches. Just want to double check that. Yes, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 inches. So another place I used a narrow border. And I'll adhere these layers to the card front, centering it so it has equal margins of the Pretty Peacock cardstock all around. I've cut a banner that is, let's see, it started out being 4 1/4 inches by 1. So you could use a rectangle 4 1/4 by 1 if you wanted to for your layer. And then I punched each end with my banner pick-a-punch. If you don't have that banner punch, you can cut out a banner end with your snips, your paper snips, your scissors. And I'll adhere this right across the middle of my card front, just like that. I've stamped another sentiment from the Prayers and Promises stamp set. I know it's kind of a teaser that I've showed you this stamp set so early when you can't order it until beginning of January. But like I said, it is so good. I wanted you to see it now. I didn't want to wait until January to show you. But this one says, as you grieve, may your memories comfort you, your faith strengthen you, and may hope heal your heart. I love it. Love that sentiment. You know, it's a great sentiment. Sometimes I don't know exactly what to write, and a stamp set like this takes care of that problem for me. So I stamped in Pretty Peacock ink on basic beige cardstock again. I punched with a 2 1/4 inch punch and then layered it onto a circle that is 2 3/8 inch. And again, you can vary your punches and your sizes as you need to. And I'm putting that right there in the center of my card. So that completes card sketch D. And we have one more card to make in this set. So my card base is Pretty Peacock, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. And then, Katie, yes, pre-order is a perk of being a demonstrator, and obviously it's one I enjoy, right? Are you a demonstrator as well? Okay, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inch card base, scored at 4 1/4 on the long side, and then on the inside, I've got a basic beige layer that is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Now, I want this 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece on my card front, but I did jump the gun a little bit here. And my advice to you would be do your stamping before, I can't even remember what I stamped on here on this one. Oh, I do remember. Okay. If you want to stamp directly onto this piece of cardstock, do it before you adhere it to your card front, right? Makes sense. That way, if you make a mistake, you can flip it over. So I did want to tell you that because I do believe that's what I did on my second set of cards. But anyways, 5¼ by 4" basic beige. And then I use the 2" by 3¾ piece of DSP cut from the One Sheet Wonder. And that is the last piece cut from the One Sheet Wonder. So as you can see, I've used up every single bit of that 12 by 12 sheet of designer series paper, right? And that is another thing with all of my One Sheet Wonders. There is no waste of that DSP. I will use every single bit because I want you to get your money's worth from your purchases, just like I do. So that's another thing I think about when I am designing my One Sheet Wonders. I want there to be zero waste of our pretty papers, or favorite papers, whatever you want to call them. So here I stamped the sentiment with Pretty Peacock ink, again on basic beige cardstock. I punched, I believe this was, and I don't see my little ruler here. Here it is. I believe it was a 2" punch. Yes, 2" circle punch, and the Pretty Peacock circle is 2¼ you know, so I used a lot of circle punches in this set. They do not have to be circles. It's just what worked out for me. But feel free to change that up. Maybe you have dies that are circles or different shapes you want to use. I will tell you, when I was making up the PDF tutorial, that one of the circle punches I used has been retired from Stampin' Up, but you can just substitute with something else or not use that layer. And I believe it was the 2¼ circle punch. Could be wrong, but I think that's the one. But anyways, so let's take another quick look, and then we'll add some embellishments. And I love the embellishments I picked out for this set of cards. I just love how they look. So, and I might refer back to my samples for this section. Before I add all of these embellishments, or while I'm adding them, let me tell you how you can get a PDF tutorial. Again, everything you need to make a set of cards with this One Sheet Wonder and the 5 card sketches I designed to go with it is in this video. Okay, everything I give you, all the supplies, all the dimensions, everything is in this video. And the nice thing about replay with a video, you can stop it, pause it as you need to, go back, whatever. But know that everything is here in this video. But if you're like me, I like to have a PDF copy available for future use. So there are 2 ways that you can get the PDF tutorial. One way is to place a $50 order with me in the month of December 2025, okay? In the month of December 2025, you can get a PDF tutorial, all of this, One Sheet Wonder template, the 5 card sketches, supply list, color photos, directions to make all 9 cards by placing a $50 Stampin' Up! Order with me. And that would be before shipping and tax, and any rewards are applied. Or before shipping and tax, after rewards are applied. The subtotal needs to be $50. And then I send it to you free by email. The other way you can get the PDF tutorial is by purchasing it at stampinpiece.com/shop. stampinpiece.com/shop. I will also have all of this information up on stampinpiece.com, a blog post with all of this, the video, how to get the PDFs, etc. Okay, so let's go back to adding the embellishments. I'm using the pressed flower motifs. These are so fun. They are metallic, a little heavy, but I loved that pressed flower image in them. So for my card sketch A, I'm going to place a large one in the bottom corner. Whoops, it's flipping around on me. Okay, this one isn't quite centered, so I'm just going to use my piercing tool there and move it over there. And then I'm going to add a small embellishment, one on each side of that large one, and then one in the top corner. Sometimes we get kind of stuck in a rut putting our embellishments in the same form or layout. Oops, already did the large one. So I wanted to show you a way that's a little bit different, but still nice and tasteful and not overdone. So one large and 3 small pressed flower motif embellishments. It's not quite evenly spaced. All right. Now, again, I'm doing something a little bit different here for card sketch B. And this time I'm using, and I know it sounds like a lot, but sometimes you just got to go big, right? I'm going to use 3 large embellishments. I should say 6, really. I'm using 3 large at the top in a straight line. And then I'm going to use 3 large at the bottom in a straight line. And they're kind of, I don't know if saying framing the square layers is the correct term, but that's what I'm going to say for lack of a better term. I always like using, not always, but most often, like using the putty end of my take your pick tool to pick up my embellishments and place them. And when you're using the putty end, you don't need very much, and you just turn it very, very slightly. Okay. And then, let's see, this was card C. I'm going to use 1 small embellishment on either side of the layered circles, or on one on each end of the banner. Whoops. For card sketch D with a larger banner, I decided I would use a larger embellishment on each side of the layered circles. And then for this one, again, I'm showing you something a little bit different. I want to double check. Yep. Actually, let me see what size I use. Small. I'm going to use 3 small pressed flower motifs, just like that, along the edge of the circle layers. So I think that was a fun way to use the embellishments today. So again, these are all 9 cards made with the December One Sheet Wonder. And cards sketches A and B are gatefold cards, 1 horizontal, 1 vertical. So a really nice set of cards to have on hand, and they made up very quickly and easily. I want to show you a second set I made with the, I don't know where I put those sheets of paper that I showed you earlier. Well, I don't know where I put them. But anyways, I'm using the cherry cobbler print, and these are all thank you cards. And this is my PSA for the day, my public service announcement. If you are making handmade cards for the holidays, or you've already finished making yours, go ahead and make thank you cards. I don't know about you. I don't get like a whole lot of gifts from lots of different people, but um, I still will send, even my own grown children who give me a gift at Christmas time, I will still send them a thank you card. A thank you goes a long, 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 long way. People like to know what they did was appreciated. If somebody has you over for dinner, or you go to a party, or perhaps um, going to maybe a holiday concert of a grandchild or a friend, something like that, a neighbor at your church. What a nice way to tell people thank you for adding to the brightness of my holiday with a handmade thank you card. And as you can see, they don't, other than the color red, they don't look Christmassy. They don't look necessarily like they're for the holiday. You might add a holly or some kind of Christmas motif if you think, but you can use them beyond. And I just think it's a good reminder for us all, if we're making holiday cards, make some holiday thank yous as well. Okay, you can even use these for teachers. Maybe enclose a note of appreciation, or a gift card. You can use them for your bus drivers, teachers, colleagues. What else? Delivery drivers. I have a basket of snacks and things that I set out, and drinks on my porch when I know I'm having a package delivered, so they can pick it up and take it. It's super busy season. But I will also set out some cards and just put delivery driver on the front. Now, why is that screen moving? I have no idea. I thought I was doing so well here. But anyways, it is what it is. It wouldn't be a live demonstration if my camera didn't float a little bit, right? But anyways, go ahead and make a set of thank you cards while you make your holiday cards, or if you finish making your holiday cards. But I wanted you to see just another set of cards made with my December one sheet wonder. You can see the designs vary a little bit, okay, from my first set. Oh, and by the way, these are, what is this? Glass, I think these are 2 narrow embossing folders that I used for these cards. They come in the same set of 2 narrow embossing folders, and I believe they're called Glass and Gardens, and I think they are on the last chance list. They may or may not be discounted, but I believe they're on the last chance list, and they're very pretty. One's floral and one's more of a geometric pattern. I used like a matte gold sequins on these. That is a retired embellishment. So again, I'm like you. I try to really try to use up what I have when I can. I know I'm often showing you the newest and latest, and that's great. I want you to know what's available and what opportunities for new product are out there, but I also encourage you to use what you have, okay? So here's a little variation. I was using a much larger sentiment, so I changed that up. This is similar, but instead of 2 circles, I used a modern oval punch and a circle on A and D. And then on my last card, you can see the difference. I stamped my sentiment directly on that layer of basic beige. So, so the second set gives you an idea of how you can change things up a little bit and finish your cards in different ways. Of course, you all have fabulous ideas being creators. So do whatever suits you. Do what is of interest to you, or whatever you want to say. But definitely, definitely, definitely put your own creative spin on your cards whenever you can. All right, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of my December one sheet wonder. It's always a fun day. Well, a fun couple of days, I'll say. I have fun designing the one sheet wonders and the card sketches to go with them, and then making a set of cards that I can demonstrate to you with that one sheet wonder. And it's just a fun thing for me to do for you each month. Please know that I appreciate you and your support of my business, Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. If you like what you see here on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. And as always, any video that you see here, I also post with more details on my blog, stampinpeace.com. And finally, just another quick reminder that if you would like the PDF version of this one sheet wonder, the template, the card sketches, supply list, color photos, card instructions, everything, there are two ways you can get that. Place an order with me of $50 or more in the month of December 2025, and I will send you the complete PDF tutorial free. Or you can purchase it for $18 at stampinpeace.com. All right, any questions before I go? Let me scroll through here really quickly. I didn't do that. Oh, Gwen, I appreciate you. Lori, thanks for joining me. Hi, Kathy, Patty. Oh, there's some names here I haven't seen in a while. That's exciting. Thank you. Island Gal. Ooh, I love that name of your, I guess your email. What do you call that? Not your email. It's, what is it? That tagline. I don't know, but I love the name. Katie, Sandy, Mariah, gosh, and people watching from all over the world. That is fun. Okay, I don't think I missed any questions. I can review them after I say goodbye too, so in case you did. Kathy, you're putting me up on your big TV. My goodness. Oh, and this is Desert Deb from Arizona. It's a sunny wintry day there. It is freezing cold in Ohio. It's like 26 degrees today. And I know other parts of the country are even colder. But yeah, frigid. But the sun came out, so that's a good thing. But for wherever you're watching, thank you. I appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to sharing more creative inspiration with you soon. Bye-bye.